Honkai Star. Now obviously, as the thumbnail says, we are going to be mostly talking about what your resources should be going into between TL1 and TL40. Now obviously, as a general recap, I am actually at TL43, or just rather the border of TL43 to 44, obviously with 50 warps saved up so far for the Jingwang banner, and then obviously 7 for the standard, and obviously my progress for this is at 100. Now obviously what the major thing for this video is going to be basically what you're supposed to be using your resources for between the first stages of the game and then obviously now the end part of the game. So during the course of the game, you're always going to be getting this fuel during your level up rewards, and this is the most amazing thing ever, because basically if you play Genshin, it's like your condense, it's like your resin, which you can basically refill constantly. Now the difference is in this game is that as opposed to Genshin, there's a lot of resources that you get generally through playing the story. Now my tips, obviously being at TL43, is that between TL1 and TL40, it is okay for you to specifically farm the Ascension, well, Bud of Memories and Bud of Feather. You rather actually just specifically farm those two things between TL1 and TL40. And then when you get to TL40, that's when most of everything gets sort of very, I'd say, expensive, because now when you get to the level cap of going from 50 to 60, you need a lot of ascension materials, specifically from the, I think it's called Echo of Shadows, or actually let me just get the name right here, it's called Stagnant Shadow. You basically need to farm this domains as much as possible, and you can see that usually takes about 30 for just one run. That's why you need to save up as much as you can and save up this fuel for TL40. Not only that, when you get to TL40, you'll notice that some of your characters are not hitting as hard as you can, and that's not because of relics. Now obviously I'm gonna go to a character that I've not, for example, I'll give you Welt. Now one of the major things you want to really focus on is your level cap, your light cone, and your traces. Most importantly, you don't have to bother with the relics. Relics you can kind of do as you go along, but they're not really your main priority. Before, I'd say, even from now, even where I am right now, I would not say relics or the artifacts of any importance before TL50, and I'll tell you why. Because between TL40 and 50, you are basically making sure that you get all your characters, or the specific characters that you want specifically, to obviously experience 60, and in doing so it enables them to be able to sort of match up with a lot of the enemies that you're going to be facing, especially in the simulated universe. Because if you go to the simulated universe, by TL40 you're sort of unlocking the world 2, which in general sense the character is about 67, and if you're bringing a level 50 character to face off this enemies, trust me, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter if you're free to play, it doesn't matter if you're paid to win, you will not be able to beat the characters, the enemies, because they're hitting harder than you can hit, no matter what you have. So in general sense, when you get to TL40, that's when you need to start using this materials, because then it gives you enough time to basically refill your what do you call these things, your trailblaze power as much as you can to basically build up your traces, because your traces are basically your main source of damage. So the two people I've built up at the moment are Welt, and now obviously in the middle of building up Natasha. I don't have any of the healer in the team, but what I've noticed is that I was using my fuel during the course of TL1 to TL40, and then I got to TL40 and realized, crap, I'm free to play, and I'm not really I'm not free to play per se, but I've bought the battle pass and the one that gives you about 20 star glitter or whatever during the course of the game, and I realized that I am not getting this as much as I can. And I'm not gonna buy crystals. Like, for me, I'm saving this as much as I can, and now I'm not gonna be able to buy this just out of my pocket. So one of the major things I learned, 100%, save. Tip number 1, save this as much as you can. save this as much as you can. Then at TL 40 is when you're going to basically be using that to level up and farm your traces and farm your essential material to get your character to level 60 and the light cone to level 60. Obviously, I'm going to be removing more